Yeah, let's briefly talk about a situation that we are waiting to hear from in Florida. Many of you remember that last year there was a man who was arrested for the attempted assassination of President Trump. This would have been outside of Mar-a-Lago there. And today there is supposed to be the beginning of a trial for a Mr. Ryan Routh, who is choosing to represent himself. Okay, jury selection is set to take place this morning. I believe it is already underway. This was the man who was found hiding away on the president's golf course last year. He has no background in being a lawyer. So again, limited legal experience as well. This is where this trial is going to be taking place here this morning. And even with that, he is still going to try to represent himself. One of the charges that he has been, 59-year-old, by the way, he's 59, that he has been charged with is attempting to assassinate a presidential candidate. So this is certainly going to be a very interesting case. I can't imagine how this is going to play out, to be honest with you, in any way other than him being convicted, particularly if he has no legal experience and he's representing himself on such a very serious charge. Trying to go back to when this took place as well. Little bit about Ryan Routh is that he is from North Carolina, again, 59 years old, works in construction, and he has a total of 5 criminal charges, all of which risk sending him to prison for life, again, including attempting to kill a presidential candidate and also possession of a firearm to commit a crime. He has pleaded not guilty in this case. And this jury selection is supposed to take place for about 3 days. The trial could take up to a month. Again, I'm not quite sure exactly what all is that going to entail, though, Naya, because typically individuals who take on the federal government in a legal matter on their own, I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but I'd imagine it's not a huge level of success, and particularly when you're accused of something like this. During today's jury selection, attorneys will be able to question 3 sets of 60 people. And in the end, they will be able to determine, they'll settle on 12 jurors and 4 alternates. So that kind of gives you context for why it could take so long here today. Looking at some more potential information here about Routh. If you remember back to when this took place, this was almost exactly a year ago at this point, September 15th. Again, he was found in the bushes hiding in that golf course in Palm Beach, and a Secret Service agent spotted a rifle, poking out of a tree line. And that's when they allegedly saw Routh run away after the agent fired at him. Routh was later arrested after being stopped on a nearby interstate. And so that kind of is part of what brings us here. Those other charges that he faces, I told you about the attempted assassination of a presidential candidate and using a firearm for a crime, but he also faces assaulting a federal officer, possessing a firearm as a felon, and using a gun with a defaced serial number. So those are all things that he right now is looking at. There might be a little bit of a challenge potentially for prosecutors, because in order to secure a conviction, they will need to prove that not only did Routh intend to kill Trump, but that he also took at least one substantial step to carry out that plan. So we will see how this unfolds, because remember, this all kind of came after the attempt on the now president's life in Pennsylvania, in which prosecutors have determined and investigators that Ralph was not involved in. But prosecutors will try to say that he used that moment as encouragement for him to move forward in his own attempt. So here are images of him there. Ryan Ralph, 59 years old, representing himself. So anyway, they say it could take a few months, but I don't know. Prosecutors do have to prove their case, but I just don't see how a man without any legal background is going to defend himself in such a serious matter as this. So, of course, we'll follow it because it is big news. It was huge, obviously, at the time. It still is. Anytime that you have the words attempted assassination of any kind of presidential candidate, particularly in that season of time when they had just had the situation there in Butler, Pennsylvania, when President Trump was seen there on stage giving a campaign speech, and all of a sudden you hear a shot, and you see Secret Service agents rushing to him. That now memorable scene of the president holding up his fist there at the end, and what appeared to be blood on the lobe of his ear. Just things that you don't ever want to see in the U.S. And then for after that in September to have the situation that took place there with Ryan Ralph being arrested, and they believe another attempt on potential planned attempt on the now president's life.